Hey, welcome back. So we're in Module 9 now. In Module 9, we talk about different ways to store data and all the little ins and outs of storing data. The first third of this chapter or so should be a rehash for you, especially if you've taken CTS1150 or a A+ hardware course. Some of this should be a rehash from CET2000 as well. So essentially, we start out talking about the different types of cables, if we're talking about PATA, if we're talking about SATA, the different nuances to how the cables are configured, and the corresponding power cable that would go along with this data transfer cable. So from there, we deal with the slots, expansion slots, relative to data storage. So we've got PCI, PCIe. We can have local storage and deal with direct attached storage, which is a device that is directly attached to the motherboard. Or we can have storage that is connected over the network. As I said, most of this should all be a rehash for you. We have the clients, multiple servers that are connected over fiber to storage units. Now, we'll call these SANs, which is server connected to storage. These are not cheap by any stretch. Okay. My cousin's got a server farm, and I remember he had a SAN that was somewhere around $450,000 for one device. Now, it's not necessarily the server itself that is the big expense. Not that it's not a big expense, but all of the media that the data is being stored on, it adds up real fast when we're talking about a newer hard disk as opposed to an HDD. Now we're talking about solid state drives that don't have the moving parts that cost significantly more. So from there, we've got an example of an HDD, and we'll talk about the different types of connections and the protocols associated with transferring data over the system. Now, we'll have, if we're going over a network, we've got different protocols that are used, and depending on the system, the OS, where the data is going, we'll have a different protocol. And I've said it before, all a protocol is the rules associated with the packaging and transportation of that data. All right, so for HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, it's the most common that we use today to send data over the internet, over the World Wide Web. We use TCP/IP. TCP/IP is a protocol to transfer over the wire, but what's being shared over the web is HTTP. So how the data is being moved back and forth, we've got different protocols here. Now, in Server 2022, we've got some new things that are going on. We've got a couple of videos that will walk you through the different aspects of the changes in how data is being stored, data deduplication. Got a video for that following this one, and it's not a complex concept. RAID should be something that you've been exposed to already in CET2000. Okay. The different types of RAID and the storage of data. So, as I said, much of this should be a rehash. We've got hard disk drives, movable parts that can spin up real fast. Depending on the device, most of them will see about 7,200 RPMs. Putting that in perspective, most cars run around 3,000 RPMs. So this is twice as fast as a car engine spins. But there are devices that go far, far beyond that now. If we're talking about servers, and they can go up to 15,000 RPMs, twice as fast as the commercial user devices. Solid state drives don't have the movable parts. They don't generate noise. They don't generate the heat. Super, super great devices that we've got available to us now. We can also store two opticals. They talk a bit about dynamic disk when we're configuring the disk itself. And essentially what it means is I'm going to reserve a certain amount of space. And I have that much space available to me. It doesn't mean that I'm using it all the time. I just have it available up to that point available to me. And I use whatever I need, and it expands as how much is used expands as I store data into it. Okay. Yeah, like I said, most of this should be rehashed for you from CET2000. And what is not will be, as I said, in the next two videos. All right. So that said, see you in Module 10 after you've completed the tasks associated with Module 9.